Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. And we have had some economic data that came across right here. German CPI from German Baden-Württemberg CPI came out just now. I'm not sure it's shown here on the Reuters list. It generally doesn't on that German Battenberg or Wattenberg data. But anyway, that being said, we did have Spanish flash HICP, which came in just a tad bit weaker than expected. Retail sales down 2.4%. And then we have not received Italian producer prices yet. We are supposed to get BOE consumer credit. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. And at the top of this next hour, we will get Eurozone business climate and economic sentiment, as well as industrial sentiment and services sentiment data out at the top of this next hour. FX seems to be relatively quiet. You can see here we're trading in a fairly tight range here in the euro here at 1672. Cable's a little bit higher right now. At 2872. Well, just going in indices, we'd seen a pretty good low move here in indices. You can see here we've taken a little bit of a dip here in the NASDAQ as well as the S&Ps, but this was after a pretty good strong move, even late in the day. So coming in just a little bit, seeing in some pre-market, we just took a dip here in Apple, a little bit off. Microsoft, those are a little bit weaker, and even Tesla's come down just a little bit, and also Netflix took a little bit of a dip here, so kind of pushing here. Gold did see a nice little bit of a rebound yesterday after went and took a dip down there, almost close to the 1850 area here. We're looking for a move all the way down to potentially as low as 1840. Has not come down to that level. We did get a rebound off of that. And like I said, with the pre-market opening right now, or reopening, I'm just saying we just saw those little dips. Kind of see that matriculate here to the indices. It was kind of trading in the 60s. We just took a quick little dip in here. There's a little bit of volume here. We're going to move on to the news and quickly get into the analysis. Unlike the start of the week, we have to cover everything basically, and we just need to just hit the FX and that's it. So we'll get to the news. I'm not expecting a whole lot of movement anyway, as we tonight is the debate between Trump and Biden. So I wasn't expecting too much from FX anyway. And we're not seeing that much to start with. Australian dollar bounces off 2-month lows on shifting rate views, and the New Zealand dollar is higher. Australian dollar bounced on Tuesday as economists pushed back expectations for a rate cut by the country's central bank to November from next week, while a risk rally across a range of assets markets also helped. The Australian Dollar liquid proxy for risk was up 2/10, 70.83. It rose 6/10 overnight from a 2-month low of 70.08, led by a rebound in U.S. stocks. Also boosting the Aussie, economists at Westpac revised their rate forecast by the RBA and policy easing measures are not likely in November. The move prompted other analysts to follow suit. Media reports downplaying an October RBA move are just too hard to ignore, said Prashant Nuhat. In our view, the main benefit the RBA would obtain from waiting till November would be clarity on the Fed and state budgets to help it calibrate. Across the Tasman Sea, the New Zealand dollar is up at 65.68, not far from a recent 1-month low of 65.12. And the Kiwi has been in a downtrend since September amid expectations of a negative interest rates in the country to help support the export-reliant economy. Across financial markets, investors' attention looks to be tuning to the first U.S. presidential debate between Democrat Joe Biden and Republican Trump, square later in the day. And the dollar is steady as all eyes on U.S. presidential debate. And why I'm not expecting too much movement here in FX today. And that's what I'm saying, should be able to fly through this analysis rather quickly. Hasn't been much movement. The dollar held steady against the basket of currencies on Tuesday's financial markets braced for the U.S. presidential debate, while traders also tracked developments on the U.S. stimulus bill. The dollar index was in change at 94.20. As stock markets made solid gains, partly on the upbeat China data, with Wall Street rebounding following last week's sell-off. If the debate puts Trump on the back foot and Biden keeps his lead, I think it could lead people to go to the dollar. The dollar market has been broadly bottoming from low prices since mid-September. The question is, what would be the trend in October? House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said on Monday the Democratic lawmakers were unveiling a new $2.2 trillion coronavirus relief bill, a compromise measure that reduces the cost of the economic aid. Markets are also braced for a slew of data to gauge the health of the world's biggest economy ahead of the election, analysts say, including Tuesday's consumer confidence, manufacturing survey, and consumer data on Thursday, as well as jobs report on Friday. The British pound edged up to 28.56, while both the EU and Britain said a post-Brexit agreement was still some way. European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said a deal was still possible. And separately, the pound found support as Bank of England Governor David Ramsden said he thought the floor for the central bank's key interest rate was 0.1%. Ramsden, however, said the BOE was duty-bound to consider pushing rates below zero. Elsewhere, the dollar was little changed. I think ultimately, if we go through inflation rates, area impacts, the U.S. yields dropping more, the markets gravitate back more frequently to the yen, he said. I'm just pulling up the bias chart. Okay, let's go and take a look here at the euro. You can see here we're trading rather quiet. We did see a little bit of a rebound yesterday, but overall we're quiet. So the year started the week holding the prior week support of 1625. The pair closed with a bullish engulfing bar. You can see that. Resistance on Tuesday will be 1714 with support at 1625. And like I said, we're trading in a very tight range. There's nothing happening in FX. We'll move into cable. So cable rallied on Monday to 29.23 to the 29.23 level. Resistance will be 29.23 for Tuesday with support at 28.15. Once again, you can see we're dead in the water here. We're not going anywhere, at least in the majors. And for the Aussie rallied back towards the 71 even area. The rally on Tuesday should find sellers at 71.23. Support will be 70.36. And on to the Kiwi. The Kiwi closed positive within a tight range. You can see here on Monday. Support on Tuesday will be 64.92 with resistance at 66.09. And like I said, we're just not going anywhere. Onto the dollar CAD. The dollar CAD closed slightly negative in a tight range. You can see that here. Real tight range yesterday. Resistance on Thursday will be 34.20. And like I said, we're still in a very tight range with support on Tuesday at 33.03. Irene says, well, do you know what time the debate starts? Or UK time? It starts at, let me double check. I believe it starts at 8 p.m. East, 9 p.m. Eastern, but let me double check. Hold on. Let me take a look here. One moment. Yeah, it starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time. And let me see if I can translate that for UK time. Bear with me. That's 2 a.m. Wednesday. 2 a.m. Wednesday. Okay. At least that's what I'm seeing here. Someone else said 1 a.m. But at 9 p.m., I Googled it. 9 p.m. Eastern time is 2 a.m. Wednesday in United Kingdom. That's what's saying here when I Google it. Okay, so anyway, let's move on. So looking at the peso. The peso posted another positive close on Monday. Resistance on Tuesday will be 22.48, which we actually right there, 22.48. We've actually pushed as high as 22.53. With support at 22.17. It didn't look like we would make it up to 53, but you can see 53 is pretty key. So I've had 48 and we're at 48, but they did make it up here to 53. Let's go on and move on to the dollar yen. The dollar yen closed slightly lower in a tight range. Support on Tuesday will be 503 with resistance at 578. Looks like we already made a push up here, but not too far away from 578. Onto the dollar index. The dollar index continues its rebound. The index, let me see here. Yeah, it didn't save Tuesdays. Doggone it. So I was looking for a further dip down here. I know I was looking for 93.77 because with equities being stronger, so that's Monday, didn't save the Tuesday analysis. But I know my support is 93.77. I remember that because I'm going to put to 72. So I put it for 93.77. And on the upside, I think I looked at the 2-hour chart. Hold on. right here. You can see these touches. Let's go with 94.55. And on to the cross rates. We had on the upside 69.63. I'm going to stay with that. And on the downside, we had 68.42. And they did come as low as 68.47. That wasn't too bad. But I do think now we've taken that dip down here that the support will be a little bit higher. And we'll go right there, 68.88. Onto the euro yen. We had 22.26 with the upside at 23.30. We actually just came up to 23.44. Now the high yesterday was 23.20, which wasn't bad. But looking at resistance, if they want to push them a little bit higher, let's go move into a 2-hour chart. See this low coming off of there, the body touch. So go with 23.52 on the upside. And support, you can see they're trying to break away. This will be support right there, 23.05. Onto the euro odd. After hitting that key weekly level, we've just been rotating lower. We did have our upside for 65.81, give it a little bit of an opportunity to see if they push up. And you can see Monday was really tight. We're kind of dripping lower. If they're going to touch the downside, it'd be the 64.10. I don't believe they'll push all the way down there immediately, but support, you can see right there coming across this touch here is going to be 64.32. And the upside limited to right there, 65.05. And onto the Euro Kiwi. Upside we have for 78.21, which that's still good. I like that. And then on the downside, just right across these highs, which would be 76.97. So a little bit higher on the support. And on to the ASEAN. It's 74.84, and we're right there right now. But I mean, this was for yesterday. So the upside, you can see this key 74.84. We're just actually just above it, but we'll give it some room to take out those stops right there. So the resistance is going to be right there, that level, which is 75 even for today. And support right there, 74.58. And then to the guppy. We had a pretty good move yesterday. Look at that big old move. We saw that also in cable itself, also a big move. So see if they can push higher. I don't think they'll take out the stops, but we'll go right there for 36.08, which isn't too far above the day's high. And support is going to be 35.26. And then lastly, with the sterling odd, boy, pretty good strong rebound here. Resistance for today, you can see they're quiet as can be. Look at that. We'll stay with this level right there, which is 80. Let's call it 81.80. It wasn't bad, 82.57. I would have thought it blew it out, and there's 57, and the high was what, 82.80. But anyway, today's high is going to be right there. Let's call it 81.84. And support below right there. Right there. 80.67. And that's going to do it there. We're trading still, as I mentioned, relatively quiet here, even in the indices. They have taken a dip, but they're trading a little bit quiet now. And that'll be it. We'll post the bias chart in the chat room, and we'll see you there. And thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover webinar on the quiet session.